Hi, my name is Tina and welcome to the fourth episode of Knitting Blooms. Today is May 22nd, 2011, and I want to thank everybody who's watched the first 3 episodes, or if you're a new-time viewer today, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate everybody's comments and criticisms that they've given me to make the show better, and I hope each week I do make it better. And if there's anything that you would like to see on a future episode, or have a comment about how something was done or what have you, please share those comments either on my blog or in the Ravelry group. You can post a comment on iTunes as well. I am now on iTunes. I'm searchable on iTunes and can be found there. So if you feel the need to go and leave a star rating or a comment on iTunes, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in with my finished object of the day, Ikaros. I finished this on Thursday, and it was quite easy. Even after the 4 charts that I did, I was looking at the last 4 rows of it, and the are written out. They're not charted. So I was kind of nervous about that. I don't know why, but I was, and so I kind of put it off for a couple days earlier in the week, and finally on Wednesday evening I said, you know what, I just need to do this. And so I started Wednesday afternoon at work, working those last few rows. Wednesday night I finished up the last row and then started casting off, and Thursday I finished the final bind off and was able to come home Thursday night and block it. I did not block it really hard. It did get huge, and I really do like the size, but I could block it even bigger, I think, if I had more space. I just had a few of those I don't know, they're like the tiles that you can, the foam tiles that you can put together, like puzzle pieces. So I had a couple of those, but the widest span was 6 feet, and that was diagonal across the center. And so I just put the top of the shawl across the center and stretched it as far as it would go and as far as it would go down. So I did block it to about 6 feet wide by 3 feet down. So, but I could really feel like the shawl could have stretched a lot more. So I think I'm going to get some of those pink insulation boards and see if I can, you know, block it a little bit bigger, because what I have was not big enough. But I really do like it, and I'm not sure exactly how to wear it. Today I'm just wearing it around my shoulders and pinned. You know, I guess this will be really this is only my second shawl. I have another shawl that a girlfriend of mine gave me, and I really like it, and I wear it like a kind of like a scarf around my neck with the V down in front, and I really like that look. But this shawl is a little bit big for that, I think. I mean, it might not be. I didn't try it on that way today, but I do like it like this. And I did, when I finished it Thursday, I had it around my shoulders at work because I had worn a short sleeve shirt to work that day, and it was a little cooler than I expected it to be, and it did keep me quite warm for the day. So that's my finished object of the week. I'm really glad that it's off the needles. It's been on the needles since 2009, so it's due to be off. Starting with the whips this week, sock yarn blanket, no progress. Now the sock yarn blanket is a project that I expect to take years and years to do. It's not like a project that I'm expecting for it to be done within a certain period of time. So I'm not really concerned about that. I don't really consider that a whip when I think about, oh, I have so many things on the needles. I don't consider that as something that I need to hurry up and finish. It's a project that I'll just do at leisure. You know, when I feel like picking it up, you know, I'll do a few squares. I just have been busy with, you know, so many other things, trying to get other things done this week, that I didn't really pick it up. The Emma lace socks, again, the same thing with that. I haven't even taken them out of the bag other than to take a picture this morning. and they're in exactly the same spot as last week. You know, I really like this yarn, and I've missed not working with it, but again, when you're trying to get other projects done, sometimes things get put on the back burner. So these are kind of on the back burner for right now. Nothing new on that. The Demeter's Shawlette that I'm doing out of the fiber that I spun up with the Knit Girls Spin Along Knit Along has gotten a tiny bit of love this week. I don't even think that this is where, I mean, maybe it is how many, I mean, I guess I've done more than I expected I did. I've done about 6 or 8 rows this week. I am liking the fiber. It seems, and this is the first time I've spun anything, and it's the first time I've knit with hand spun, so it's all new to me. And but I am liking how the colors are kind of making a stripe on the shawl, and that's going to be like a V because it's like the Ikaros shawl where it starts at the top and you increase in the center and on the sides. So that's coming along slowly. Again, this week, really the only time that I've worked on this project is while I'm reading, just before I go to bed. So it hasn't been a huge priority this week. So that's that one. I'm kind of going through them quick. And again, I brought the timer down this morning and I forgot to set it again. I have a lot to talk about today, so I want to, the things that I haven't made any progress on, I'm trying to scoot right through them. The next whip is the Not Quite a Cape, and I don't have anything to show you right now because all of the pieces are done. I finished up the second sleeve Friday afternoon at work, and I cast on for the back. I came home Friday night and had a virtual knitting club Friday night and proceeded to knit up halfway up the back, and I was just zooming right along. I was going to work on some other projects during virtual knitting club, and I just kept going and going and going and going. And yesterday morning we were going to run out and do some errands, and I decided to stay home instead of, my husband wanted to go to a car dealership with his sister to look at a car, and I just decided I'm not really interested in going to look at the car. So I stayed home and just kept knitting on the back and finished it up and put it in for blocking, and all the pieces are blocking right now. I wove in all the ends, except I did find one end that I somehow missed when I was weaving in ends the other day. But all the pieces are blocking. I checked them this morning and they are just about dry. I'm thinking that probably by later this afternoon or this evening I should be able to take them off the blocking boards and start seaming them up together. And then all I have left on that is the collar and the neck, or the like the button band. It's not a button band because I had to knit some I-cords to go on to hook the buttons on, but it is a ribbing along the edge and also around the collar. So that might be my finished object next week. We'll see what happens with that. The next thing on the needles is the mystery shawl with Knitting Like Crazy. This one came out a few weeks ago and I started it right away. The second clue came out last week, and then the third clue came out this past Friday. I am trying to keep up with the clues so that I don't get too far behind. Just a moment. That would be my needle. Here, you want to say hello? Here's Crystal. She's another one of my kitties. She came down and she saw my yarn in my bag there on the floor, and she decided she wanted to play with it. So we'll see if she's going to sit here or go away. So anyway, this is the progress I'm making on it, and I am halfway through No. I'm halfway through the third clue, and last night I was very frustrated. I did put in a lifeline. I'm not sure if you can see the lifeline in there because it's white and there's some coloring with it, but I did put in a lifeline after the second clue, and I am very glad that I did that because one of the sections, I don't know what I was thinking, I screwed up somehow, and I was knitting along, and I usually really, when I did the Ikaros shawl, I really watched what I was doing, and I was really making sure that I was reading my knitting to make sure I was putting the stitches where I was supposed to put them. And if I came to a part where it wasn't looking like the stitches were lining up, like that, for instance, there's a double decrease in this, and if those double decreases weren't lining up on top of one another, I, recounted stitches, checked the row below to make sure that everything was in place. And for whatever reason, I had an extra yarn over or missed a yarn over. I don't even remember what it was, but I ended up dropping back a few stitches and fixing it. But then when I got down to the next row, I was still off a little bit, and I'm like, okay, this isn't working for me. So what I ended up doing, it was actually this little piece that I cut back. But what I did was I put markers on either side of this little section, and when I got to those stitches, I dropped all of those stitches down to the lifeline, and then I worked them back up again. And when I was done, I had a whole big, on this side, I had a whole big open ridge because there was, the way I was picking up the stitches and knitting them to repair them left me with a lot of extra yarn on one side. So what I had to do was take a little darning needle and kind of disperse the stitches out a little bit, or the yarn out a little bit to the stitches so that it kind of evened out. And I know that with blocking lace, once it soaks, everything will work out in the wash, and you won't even know that there was a mistake there. And you can't really even tell now. It looks, some of the stitches are a little loose over here on this side because I had to move some of that yarn, but it's not nearly as bad as it was when I finished up the repair. But I'm so glad that I put that lifeline in after the second clue, because that would have been really hard to drop those stitches down had I not had that lifeline in there. So I will probably put another lifeline in there when I finish up clue number 3, just to be sure. I also did make another mistake in this medallion section too, but it was a really easy one. I had picked up an extra yarn over, and so I just dropped it off the needles, and that was fine. It was really easy. It wasn't anything too crazy, not like this one over here, because there's so many, the way that the yarn overs and the slips, the double decrease are working, it was getting very confusing. But anyway, it's all worked out, and I didn't have to rip back the rows. I just had to drop those stitches down. So that is a lesson that I'm glad I I took my own advice, because I definitely needed that lifeline this time. I'm hoping to get this clue done today. I think the next clue doesn't come out until Friday, and I'm not sure. I want to say that there's 5 clues on this. I can't really remember, but we'll probably got to have a couple more weeks. But it will be nice to actually finish right along with everybody else. So I'm trying to keep up with it each week. Just getting it done as soon as I can, and then moving on to the next project that I'm working on. The next one is the, oops, sorry. The next one is the Windy Knits Mystery Along. I think last week I had not started it. It was, last Sunday she released the cast on and starter and like the setup rows, and I didn't get to cast on right away, on Sunday. I think I cast on Monday, and then the clue number 1 came out on Tuesday. So I cast on Monday night, and I cast on 239 stitches, which is what the pattern called for, and I knit my 2 rows. Then on Tuesday, when I got the first clue, they had found that, I guess after the first clue was released or something, I'm not sure, they had found that there was a mistake in that first section of the pattern. And it wasn't supposed to be 239 stitches, it was supposed to be 241 stitches. And Wendy Knit, she had come up with a solution of how to get around that. But then I saw some chatter about making their shawl bigger. So I thought, do I just fudge the first row and keep the 239 stitches on there, or do I frog it back and cast on extra stitches? Because I was thinking I wanted a bigger shawl. So I did. I ripped it back, and I ended up casting on 289 stitches, which was Wendy's suggestion for adding 1 additional repeat. So that's what I did, and I have finished up the first clue. The next clue comes out today. Yeah, I believe it's today. So hopefully I will finish up the other mystery shawl and also get working on this one today too. This is Knit Picks. The yarn I'm using is Knit Picks Stroll. Yeah, it's Stroll now. The tonal in springtime. And Stroll is, I think, one of my favorite yarns to use. My second pair of socks was made out of Stroll, and I really love it. I don't think I've made any other socks out of Stroll, but I have some Stroll in my stash. But I really like this, and I really like the tonal that I'm getting with it, the tonal effect. But this is the first clue, and that's about what it's looking like now. I have another picture that I'll show you that's probably easier to see it. Excuse me. So, and like I said, I really like this yarn, and it's really squishy and fun, so hopefully this one will go well too. I haven't put a lifeline in this one yet. I probably should put a lifeline in this one before I start the next clue. Probably a good idea. I haven't done that yet, but I'll get to that later. Let's see, was there anything else on this one? Yeah, so I think this one has, she's releasing a clue today, and then I believe she's going to release a clue on Friday because of the long weekend. And I want to say this has 4 or 5 clues as well. So again, I want to keep up to date on this so that I can finish up right along with everybody else. Both of these are my first mystery shawls, and really my first knit-alongs. I really have never done a knit-along either with any project that I've stuck right with it with the whole group. And the last item on my needles for this week is the Modified Lady Eleanor. And I did do 1 complete row on this week. And still liking the project. With so many things on the needles, it's hard to make a huge amount of progress. I mean, I guess I have to say that I did make pretty good progress this week since I finished my Ikaros. I have the not quite a cape, nearly complete, just needing the button band. But I feel bad that the other projects didn't get too much love. But I did do a whole row on this. I'm thinking if I can do a full row every week, I'd be happy with that. I might want to try and move this one along a little bit quicker, just because it's been on the needles for quite a while too. But there it is. It is going to be, when I block it out, I'm hoping that it's going to be long ways, so I think it's really gonna stretch out both ways because it's gonna be pretty big. I'm thinking it's gonna be about 60 inches wide when it's all blocked out. I have a total of 4 balls of this yarn, and this is the Hill Country Instant Gratification yarn. I don't think that this company is still around. I really fell in love with one of their sock yarns, which was Sweet Feet, and I don't think they're making it anymore. I haven't seen it on the website to purchase. But I do like the yarn. It's a thicker sock yarn, and I think I prefer it for other projects like this shawl versus socks. I do have 2 pairs of socks made out of that yarn, but they're really heavy socks, and it has to be a really cold day to wear them, or if it's just something that I wear around the house. So this got a little bit of love this week. Not too much, but it's moving along. I did do some spinning on the spindle this week. Just a little bit, not too much. Yeah, it doesn't even look like I've made very much progress. This is the first ball that I have wound up, and again, this one I did kind of like a fractal spin. I'll kind of show you a little bit on how the different weight of the fiber that I have. So this one, oops, runaway ball. This is the first section, and then this is the second section. So you can see the difference in thickness and how it's going to spin up. And then this one is the third section. And the first part of it, you can't really see the difference, but because I didn't. So you can see there that you've got 1, 2, and 3. So this one's a lot thinner than the other 2. This one's a little thinner than this one, and this one's a lot thinner. So, but they are the same weight. And let me see if I can get this ball back before Crystal tries to attack it. So, but they are. I did weigh out the segments, and they are the same weight, or approximately the same weight. So I am still hoping to 3-ply this once I get it all spun up, and I am gonna continue to leave it on my little drop spindle that I'm using, which is the KY spindle in the full weight. I am really enjoying it. I did take it to work with me this week and did a little spinning on it, and I also did a little spinning at home this week. And it is very thin. You'll see in the picture that I post that I put a little dime in there. I've seen people do that before, and to kind of give you a reference point on how thick the yarn is. But it is spinning up really thin, which is exactly what I wanted. When I started spinning, I think I mentioned this in the very first episode, I wasn't sure that I wanted to spin because I like lighter weight yarns, and I like nice smooth yarns. I don't like the bulky and the thick and thin, and I'm not real keen on the bouclés and stuff like that. So I wanted to have a nice smooth clean yarn. So this is coming out exactly the way I like it. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with it yet. If I 3-ply it, I'll probably do socks, but I might change my mind and not 3-ply it. Or maybe I'll Navajo-ply it and make a shawl. I don't know. You know, it's I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. I guess I'll just wait and see how it works itself out. I also did, no, I guess I didn't do any spinning on my wheel this week. It's just been a busy week with the other projects trying to get things done that I didn't get a chance to do any spinning on my wheel. I'm hoping maybe today I'll have some time to do that. So moving right along, I want to thank a couple of podcasters for mentioning me on their show this week. Kagi at the High Fiber Diet, she mentioned my podcast on her show this week. And I did give her a shout out at I think it was the first episode. But if you haven't checked out Kagi's audio podcast, go check it out. She's, like I said in episode 1, she is very informative about so many different things. You will learn a lot from her. And the second person is Vicky at Dragonfly Soars. She also gave me a shout out this week, and I want to thank Vicky for doing that. And again, Vicky has a video podcast. It's called Dragonfly Soars, and she does something very similar to what I do, where she talks about her whips and what have you. And so go check out Vicky's video podcast as well. The new podcast that I started watching this week was Domesticated Darling with Katie. And she is a multi-craftual person. She sews and she crochets. Her episode from last week, I think she just was learning to start how to knit. She wasn't knitting before, but I guess she's starting to do that. So, and I watched a couple episodes, and she has the cutest little daughter. The last episode, when she starts up the show, how she introduces herself, her little daughter was doing the little introduction, and I thought it was so adorable. So go check out Domesticated Darling and Katie, and her daughter is Scarlett. And like I said, she's adorable. Speaking of adorable children, Mommy Needs Yarn and Erin over at Mommy Needs Yarn. Erin is the host, and she's another video podcaster. And her little son, Colin, he is adorable too. You know, when he comes into the frame, or all of a sudden she starts to record and he wants something to eat. You know, he's just adorable. So go, and Erin, like the other podcast, she goes through her whips of the week and what have you, and I've really been enjoying her show as well. So those are my podcast shout outs of the week. Next up is, I want to talk about Stitches Midwest. This week I booked my hotel for Stitches Midwest. I am only going to go on Saturday. We're going to drive in Friday evening, so we'll get there late in the evening on Friday. And then we'll be there all day on Saturday for shopping, and then probably head back on Sunday. I've kind of skimmed over the classes on Saturday and Sunday. Not really anything really jumps out at me saying that I have to, you know, rush out and sign up for those classes, but I don't know. I think there might, I don't know if there's any like 1 hour classes or quickie things, whatever. Maybe I'll do something like that. But if you're planning on going to Stitches Midwest, please get in touch with me. I'd love to meet up with a bunch of people and meet some of the people that have been watching the podcast. So, yeah, just get in touch with me on Ravelry or on the blog, whichever. Which also leads me to the need for a yarn diet. I am going to try and not to buy any more yarn or fiber between now and Stitches Midwest. Except if I go to Michigan Fiber Festival, which I am thinking about doing. I haven't totally decided, but I'm probably going to go there too, which is the weekend before Stitches Midwest. So, I think it's going to be really difficult to do, but I am going to try. Last year, I did very well. I mean, I have so much yarn that I didn't need to be buying yarn. And last year, I think I only bought maybe 5 balls of sock yarn. So I did real well last year with my stash, with my yarn diet. But I wasn't watching, you know, 8 video podcasts a week and listening to all these audio podcasts and being enabled and wanting to go and purchase stuff. So this week has been really, really hard. I mean, I hear about all these different yarns that people are using and loving, and I just have to step away from the computer because I just want to go click over there and snatch something up. But if I'm going to have any money to spend at Stitches Midwest, I need to not spend money between now and then. I do have a couple of those knitting for hire jobs that I'll get paid on before then, and that'll be kind of my little spending fund, but I really don't need any more yarn, so that I need to start working through my stash. And the thing is I've pretty much been knitting the projects that are already on my needles, and I haven't started anything new except for a couple of shawls, but the shawls don't take up that much yarn. So I am going to not buy any yarn. I have too much already and nowhere to store anything new. Which brings me to the Knit Girls are having a stash down this summer. I believe it starts May 27th, which is that Friday? It may be this week. Yeah, I think it does. I think it starts this week. Later this week. And you have to knit through 5, is it 5K? Yeah, I think 5K of yarn, which is 5,468 yards. You can get all the details over on the Knit Girls group on Ravelry there, and there's a lot of cheater rules, and it is possible to do even if you don't cheat. I checked how many yards I had knit to date this year, and this year since January I have knit 8,827 yards. And the way I was able to figure that out was I set up a button on Knit Meter, and you have to go in and you have to enter the yardage of each project, and some of the projects are estimates, other things are dead on, or pretty darn close. So you have to go and enter your projects and enter the yardage for each project, and then it keeps track of everything. You enter the date of when you finished it or whatever. I think you can enter, like if you go and you enter a ball, or you knit up a ball of yarn, you can go and you can make an entry towards that project, and then it just keeps a running track. I'm just entering mine when I finish the project, so that means I have to finish projects that include 5,468 yards of knitting within the stash down. And I'm not sure when it ends. I want to say it's August, so it's like 3 months. So there's a lot of time to do that, and if you have your evil plans in place, then there's a very good possibility that you will be able to meet that goal. So that is something else I'm doing this summer. And also, I am going to start my very own knit along. I have been wanting to do the Bacardi sweater from, I believe it's in No Sheep for You, for a long time. And back at the 2009 knitting retreat, I bought a bunch of yarn in like rainbow colors. I mean, they were really bright. I bought a bright pink, blue, purple, green, yellow. I think it takes 5 colors. So I had all bright colors. And I just kept looking at these colors together, and I kept thinking, man, I think this is going to be too bright. So over the last year or so, I've bought even more yarn to try and mix and match those colors that I already had with some lighter colors that would tone it down a bit so it won't be so in your face. But what I did, I was very concerned that I was going to see, this is why I don't record when my husband is home. Anyway, So what I did, he's making noise, and then he's scaring the cats and what have you. Anyway, back on track. I was afraid that the colors that I chose were not going to just dump into the pattern as it was written. You know, just taking saying, okay, instead of this color, I'm going to use this color. Instead of this color, I'm going to use that color. So what I did was I mapped out the entire pattern in Excel, and I swapped the colors, you know, one by one. And this is what I did. I have these charts, and it goes through the entire pattern, because the pattern is pretty long. But I wanted to also, I didn't want to just have a strip. I wanted to have it so that I could see what it was going to look like. So I charted it. And if I didn't like how this one came out, then I charted it again. And here's my chart number 2. And then I still wasn't quite happy with how that one was looking, so then I did chart number 3. And then I did chart number 4. And they're all slightly different. These are all the same colors, but if you look at them side by side, they are the colors I swapped into different spots. So, and then I finally ended up with, I believe it was chart 5. This was chart 5. And then I also have my graph so that I can use it for when I'm actually knitting. So I'm glad I took the time to do this, because I think I will get a better result from it. I do need to knit up a swatch with chart number 5, which is the chart that I've decided that I'm going to use, and make sure that I actually like it in real life. I mean, on a chart, on a spreadsheet, it looks like it's going to be cool, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll pull the colors together and work up the sample, and then go for it. And then I also, because I have so many extra different yarns, I also have these colors that I want to make up a cardi out of. And I also chose chart number 5 for that one as well. So I don't know which one I'm going to start with. I'm thinking I'm going to start with the pink and green one, just because those are kind of my colors, and if I don't get to the purple one, then I'm not going to be too heartbroken, but I think that's what I'm going to do. So that's going to be my knit along, is the Bacardi sweater. So, and I'm not going to start it right away. I want to get some of the other things off my needles. I would like to finish, well, I might not finish both knitting for hire jobs that I have. I definitely want to get the not quite a cape off the needles and done. The probably as soon as I get that done, I might start the other, because the other ones are shawls and socks. That I do have another project that I need to do that's commissioned work, and I'll probably start that. But I don't know that I'll wait until that one is completely done before I start it. But if you want to do the Bacardi knit along with me, you have time to shop for your yarn, do your Excel charts if you want to swap the colors and you don't want to take the chance that it's not going to turn out the way you want it. So I probably, maybe I'll start it, I don't know. I don't know when I'll start it. It'll be in the next month or so. So you have time to shop for your yarn if you don't already have the yarn, and do some charts if you want to do that. It's been probably a year since I did these charts, so I don't remember exactly how to do it, and now I'm on a Mac. But if you have any questions on doing these charts in Excel and swapping the colors, let me know, and I'll do the best that I can to help you figure out how to go about doing it. Because I know there's a way that you can set up the chart in one color and then say change all of these blocks to this, and it will change everything down the line, and it makes it so much easier. It's like a mass change rather than trying to change each block individually, because that would have taken forever. But I will be starting this within the next month or so. I will, as soon as I get it started, I will put a link or a sticky at the top in the group. So if you'd like to join along with the Bacardi Knit Along, please come and join the group and get on the thread and let me know that you're going to do the knit along right along with me. The last thing for today will be my talk about the prize drawing. There's been a lot of people that have been posted in the thread this week, and I greatly appreciate it. There's been some great names. My favorites are the flower names, of course, you know, Blooming, you know, Knitting Blooms, Bloomingknitter. So some of the names that have been suggested so far have been Daisy, Violet, Rose, Lily, Petunia. So I am leaning more towards that way of thinking. So if you come up with a new name this week that's a flower name, or has something to do with flowers or petals or whatever, please give me some more suggestions and enter for the prize drawing. I don't have the prizes right here today. I did do some dyeing last night, and I have a little bit more to do today. I'm going to dye up a few different skeins and then let the winner choose which one they want. I am also going to make at least one bag. Maybe if I have time I'll make a couple, and then the winner of that will get to choose which one they want. And then I have the fiber from 4 Rivers Yarn and Fiber that I'm going to give away, and then the spindle as well. Right now we're going to do 2 prizes. If we get another 30 or so people to post in the thread, then I will probably split those prizes out and there will be 4 prizes. Or maybe I'll just add some additional things. I have a couple of books that I can give away too. So we'll see how many people post to the thread, and I'll just decide next week if I'm going to have 2 or 4 or whatever I'm going to have. So I think that's it for today. And yeah, so I guess that's it, and I hope you guys have a great week. Happy knitting, and keep those needles going. Bye for now. Here is Steve helping me to model my Ikaros shawl today. I thought you guys might enjoy seeing the craziness that he provides.